Everybody to the regular meeting of the City Council and Needles Public Utility Authority of the City of Needles, California, Tuesday, June 8th, 2021. We didn't have an executive session. We're going to start the City Council meeting now. We'll call the meeting to order and take the roll.
Councilmember Campbell,
Present.
Carroll,
Here.
Williams,
Here.
Pageant,
Here.
Belt,
Here.
Longacre.
Here.
Thank you.
And Councilman Moran asked for excused absence. Can we have a motion and a second?
I'll move to approve.
I'll second that.
Hey, call for the vote.
Please vote.
Buttons.
Buttons, yes.
I got it. Oh.
Thank
Slacker,
you. Five
slacker.
ayes, Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Burrell,
Yes.
Pageant,
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hey, would you please rise for the invocation and the Pledge of Allegiance led by Vice Mayor Paget? Dear Lord, thank you for letting us gather and take care of the city's business. Help us to remember to keep you in the forefront of our thoughts and do what's best for the citizens of our community. We love you, Lord, and we ask this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in honoring our veterans and our soldiers and our glorious flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Approval of the agenda?
I make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second it.
We have a motion and a second. Call for the vote.
God bless you.
I take the button.
Councilmember Longacre, thank you. Five ayes, Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
Yes.
Pageant.
Yes.
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
Any correspondence or conflicts of interest? Sorry, conflicts of interest first. And any correspondence?
None.
Okay, introduction, city attorney, parliamentary procedures. I think we can skip that tonight.
Okay.
You have something?
Nope.
Okay.
New.
As a courtesy to those in attendance, we ask you set your cell phones to their silent mode.
You said that.
It's a reminder for myself. All right, public appearance. Persons wishing to address the city council on subject other than those scheduled are requested to do so at this time. When called by the mayor, please come announce your name and address for the record. Come to the podium and announce your name and address for the record. In order to conduct a timely meeting, a 3-minute time limit per person has been established by Municipal Code Section 2-18. Amendments to the California Government Code Section 54950 prohibits city council from taking action on a specific item until it appears on the agenda. With that, are there any public appearances?
Yes, good evening.
Hi, Captain.
As I'm sure everyone's heard, Sergeant Dominic Vaca with the Sheriff Department was killed in the line of duty on Memorial Day. His funeral is Friday. A contingent of deputies and myself will be attending. So please keep his family in your thoughts and prayers.
Oh, my God.
Thank you. Sure.
Jared Johnson, 1320 Santa Fe Circle. Couple of things really quick. Want to thank the Sheriff's Department. I'm not saying that our area is under patrolled or anything, but I work a lot, but I normally don't see anybody patrolling our area. Happened to see one of the deputies on our street. Had an opportunity to stop and talk to him. I like to see that. I like to be able to interact with him. He seemed like he was trying to be proactive and kind of understood that our area maybe isn't as patrolled as much as the rest of the city from what he had said. So he was in our area. So I like to see that, like this, the interaction from the sheriff and taking that proaction. Number two, want to thank our firefighters. Currently, we have 2 major incidents going on right now. There's a double structure fire in Goffs. So county's out there fighting 2 structure fires. And we just had 2 semis wreck at the top of the hill. One has a chemical release of formaldehyde. He's currently has 3,000 gallons of formaldehyde, and he is leaking that. So Caltrans is up there shutting down the 40. And since they're out of the area, Mojave Valley, I saw them going code 3 up the freeway to that chemical release. So I want to thank those guys for jumping in and helping whenever they can. Mutual aid, like I always say, is very important to a small town. And so also a lot of people I've noticed over the holiday weekend don't pay attention to the orange lights, don't pay attention to any lights. Two of our workers almost were hit in Barstow in a closure because people don't pay attention. And cones were up, signs were up, backup trucks were up. They still struck the vehicles, and CHP was there and still didn't deter anybody from not paying attention. So just let people know that the slow down, move over is still a law, is still enforceable. It's not good when we have people getting killed out there that are just doing their job. So if you see any kind of lights, just get away from them. If you can't, it's safe. A lot of people, semis can't move over as fast. A lot of people don't let them. But currently we have those 2 incidents going. So I want to thank all the guys that are out there working and sweating all night. Thank you.
Thank you. It's now.
Can you? Yeah, go ahead. You're fine. You don't have to come all the way down.
What I want to talk about is the actor of the city. What I'm against is being near the school district and zoning the place and make it okay. I think cultivation and the distributorship store should be somewhere else, like Juicy's or something, anywhere else but Denny's, even the bar. The kids at the rec center, softball, high school, grade school. Like, let's just put it somewhere else. If we can do that.
Okay, thank you. Name?
Thank you. Thanks, Esther.
Have your name, ma'am?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's Stella, AG, 1545, North M Street, Needles.
Thank you, Ms. AG. Any other public appearance? Seeing none, we'll move on to the, we're going to recess the city council meeting, convene a joint meeting of the council and the MPUA. We call that meeting to order, and the roll call has already been taken. The first item is the public hearing notice to consider all evidence testimony for or against adopting the proposed MPUA and city budgets for fiscal year 2021-22. Staff report.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, we have been through, I think, 4 meetings of the Budget Council's Budget Committee. And we have a budget that we're prepared to present. We did take a look at the options list, and we initially thought the reserves were going to be about 418. They're now going to be about 1.18. So while we're a little bit short of the 10% desired reserve, we're at 9.9. And actually I was informed this afternoon that it's 10.2% with today's receipts that came in. So there were on that options list, the committee added help to speed up the development processing. They added a Gannon tractor in Public Works. They added the street number painting on curbs. They added replacement of drinking fountains at Duke Watkins and Jack Smith. They added a new tractor with backhoe and new mower at Cemetery. And then we also added $100,000 to expand office space in City Hall. You have in here the authorized position list. You also have the interfund transfer repayment obligation for water and wastewater. So all in all, the budget's balanced. It has a reasonable and prudent reserve. And we would ask for your action to approve with one caveat, and that is, as the year evolves, we can adjust this based on revenue increase or decrease, or expenditures increase or decrease. So this is our best snapshot in time about what the year's spending plan looks like for providing service to our customers. Be glad to answer any questions.
I have a question. What was the street painting of the sign of the numbers? When did, I thought we voted on that as a no.
Oh,
It was a yes.
It went through as a yes
Yeah.
We voted to look at.
but it's, yeah, it's
to pay for it?
25,000 is the estimate.
Yeah, there were 2 yeses.
It went through to actually complete yes on that?
There were 2 yeses.
Of the 3,
But-
but I mean, it's the council that has the final
You're talking about the budget
budget
committee?
committee.
Yes, oh, okay.
Yes.
We haven't approved
That's
that.
correct.
Okay.
You're correct.
I was like, wait a minute.
You're correct.
No, we only send it. out
Okay,
for
thank you.
prices.
So that's still not officially voted on.
Right.
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Any other questions from the council?
I have a question. I'm sorry, I don't have my notes from the last meeting. There were some on the options list as far as, with the rec center. I would imagine that's being offset because of the schools coming forward to pay for swimming, basketball, rec, and golf. So the school is covering all of those programs for the children this summer. So we don't have to do anything for the rec center. Because they had some options on there that we had sort of
Yes,
talked about.
correct. With, again, a little bit of a caveat is I received a request to review the restrooms at the aquatic center and see what we can do about modernizing those. We'll bring that back at a later date for actions, and either it'll be covered by cash carryover from this year, or it will be funded by a draw from the reserve. I would expect that to be $15,000, maybe $20,000, because as I understand it, they're quite old and
Mm,
need a
yeah.
repair, replacement.
Okay.
They need an air
Thank you.
conditioning unit at the rec center also was on their list, right?
Right. So what we did, Mr. Mayor, Council, is we know that over the next year, we're likely to see the air conditioner that's there, a $27,000 8-ton air conditioner. It's nearing the end of its useful life. So what I'm recommending we do is make a mental note of it, not appropriate the money, but if the time comes that that thing starts rattling and coughing, we'll be here for authorization to fix that.
Okay.
We could take that $25,000 for painting the curbs and put it with another
Right.
$2,000 and it'd be budgeted already.
My,
Go ahead, Donna.
the only problem with that, I mean, just some throwing out is with the heat, if we go out, the summer programs go out, I mean, and we just started everything back up again.
Well, it's
don't
your
know.
prerogative. If that happens, I'm going to be the first to let you know and order it, so we're not out. But it can be appropriated. If you feel more comfortable that way, that's, either way gets us there.
I would.
If we appropriate it now, if it goes out, do you have to come back to us? Do we have to have a special meeting or whatever to make that money?
No,
we
if you
appropriate,
appropriate it
good.
now, that gives me the authorization to proceed with it.
Okay.
And we went out for air conditioning services, so we already have a preferred vendor selected.
Good.
So we just
Okay.
order it.
Yeah, that's much,
It's your call.
Any other questions from the council?
we can put it in with the money.
Right. I'm going to open this up for a public hearing on the budget, the MQA in the city. Is there any public input on this item?
I tell you. Oh, this one.
$2.
Hearing none, but seeing one.
Seeing one, yes. And then, I agree with, council member and councilwoman,
Sorry, what's your name?
Who are you?
Jared Johnson, Santa Fe Circle.
Nice to meet you.
Okay.
Yeah, I think, that air conditioner would serve the community a lot more than paint curbs. And I think that should be a bigger priority, especially with all our rec kids that come there. A lot of them are under the poverty level. And it's probably most of the air conditioning they get right there. So plus the snacks and everything else. So I think that'd be a better, plus, it'd probably take 2 weeks for them to order this thing, get it out there. So less downtime, better. Thank you.
Thanks, Jared. Any other public input?
Hi, this is Coralie Savell at 1500 Vine Street.
Hi,
Hi, I'm online. I'd like to make a comment.
okay.
I agree with the gentleman that just stood up, as well as the council person regarding the painting on the curbs, moving that money for, towards the air conditioning.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Is there any further public input? Seeing and hearing none, we'll close the public comment, public hearing portion of this, bring it back to the council for discussion, deliberation. And we'll do a council motion first for the budget of the city. If you want to.
I have to read it.
The option list, put anything on, we need to do it now.
All right, then I'll make a motion to approve, except for taking out the curbs and adding the air conditioning for the rec center.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Call for the vote.
5 ayes, Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Pageant.
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, and the NPUA budget? We have a
Mayor, same comments. The NPUA budget is balanced. It's within our means. We hope to be able to get additional grants for hopefully the water well and the reservoir, which between them total 5 million. And that may negate the need for a bond to cover that. But we're working hard with a Rebuild SoCal partnership to help us get qualified for that grant.
Just one question from me. How long are we going to wait?
Well, this is the stuff that keeps me up at night, is that well. Now, we have another pump in stock. And last time we had to replace the pump, we were able to do it within about 18 hours. But wells are known to collapse. The walls cave in. So, and we do have a vendor that could fix it. Now you're talking about 3 or 4 days. The last time we got in a pinch on water was D Street Bridge blowout. And where our 1.5 million gallons of storage, which is in the summer about a day and a half, we were able to stretch that into 3 by putting out a call for conservation on the red alert system. I think Rainey would tell us that we'll know within the next 60 days.
Okay. Any other questions on the NPUA budget? No. Need a motion.
I move to approve the NPUA budget.
I'll second that.
Call for the vote.
Mayor Williams.
Oh, yeah.
6 ayes, Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Williams.
Yes.
Pageant.
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll recess the council NPUA meeting and reconvene the city council meeting. Public hearings. The first one's been pulled by the applicant. So number 3 is public hearing notice to consider all testimony, evidence and testimony for or against an amendment to the Needles sign ordinance. 104.17.5 general provisions requiring continuous maintenance of signs and sign structures at sites where the business has closed for a continuous period of 90 days or more. The sign and sign structure is required to be removed, replaced with an opaque panel or painted over in a solid color. Staff report.
Honorable Mayor and council members, in front of you, we have ordinance number 639 AC for the amendment of the sign code. The recommendation is to approve this, but let's go through the background of it. So the city staff has been working diligently with the city attorney to be able to come up with a method to help clean up the appearance of the city. And so we've all worked really hard. The code enforcement officer team has worked really hard, but we need something to help us to be able to address the signs that are sitting vacant throughout the city. So on January 6, 2021, the Planning Commission reviews this proposed ordinance and wanted us to take it back so that it included not just the removal, but coming up with a solution to be able to mask the problem. So the Planning Commission requested these additional options to allow the sign hardware to remain, since it provides an opportunity for future businesses at the site to realize the cost of saving. So basically, if you leave the sign there and you mask it, the business doesn't have to put in a new sign. So that was the idea. The current ordinance requires us to keep all signs maintained, repair and contain the current condition. The sign, if it's not properly maintained, does not meet the current content. But basically, we had to really strengthen it a little bit. So the proposed language, basically, you have to maintain the sign. If you don't maintain the sign, you're going to have it removed. And so what you're able to do is paint, color, replace the existing sign so that it conforms with the sign code and it looks good. So every sign and structure advertising will no longer be conducted. We'll have to have it removed within 90 days. So basically, the code enforcement officer will then start the code enforcement process. So say your business shuts down. Within 90 days, you have to have that sign remedied. You have to taken care of, either a plastic white cover or have it removed entirely. Failure to maintain the sign will begin the code enforcement process. So I want to go through a couple examples that we have of non-compliant signs that are found within the city that are currently not compliant with our ordinance, but this gives us a little bit extra strength. So look at this sign in the city. It's got the vacant sign. There's nothing in it. So basically, you'd have to mask that sign. So here you go to another example throughout the city. It's a vacant sign. You'd have to mask this as the property owner. And again, vacant sign. It appears to be blight, like no business is there. No business is there, but we've believed in working with the city attorney that this would be a better option. So again, these are more non-compliant signs that are found throughout the city. And then here's an example of a compliant sign that's already existing in the city. If you drive down Broadway, this is they did it themselves without us reaching out to them. Here's one across the river at the Family Dollar. It's a little bit, it's a black again, but it still masks the vacant business that's existing there. And you can see that the signs in the back, you can see that the white, even though the business isn't there, it still doesn't appear to be, it's not a vacant sign. And again, here's another example of just the white that, again, this is across the river that shows that the business actually isn't in there, but it's not a vacant sign. So at the Planning Commission meeting that just occurred, the commission voted unanimously to recommend this review to the Needles Municipal Code. So our recommended action is to approve Ordinance 639, amending the Municipal Code Article X signage, Section 104.17.5, general provisions. I'm available for any questions that you might have. That concludes my presentation.
I have one. Okay, I totally love this. But say an operating business has one of these street signs and it has an old business sign in it. That isn't anything to do with that business. Would they need to cover those ones?
I'd have to look into that, but I believe the sign itself has to do with the existing business that's occurring at the site. That's my understanding.
So, thank you.
Any other questions for staff? Go ahead, Ellen.
How long do the businesses have to correct this?
So it's 90 days as it states, but in terms of a notice of violation, the 2A code would give somebody 10 days. But again, Adrian and our code enforcement team works closely with our business owners.
Okay.
Again, this is targeted just to commercial, but
Right.
we'll work with the business owners. So they'll be given a notice of violation that says, hey, your sign's out of compliance. what's going on. They'll reach out to Adrian. They'll give him an update. They need more time. Adrian will work with them. So it's not like we're gonna. The goal is compliance, not to get
right.
fees or anything like that.
So if, when we vote on this tonight, and let's say it passes, then the businesses in town will be noticed or they'll be violated.
So we would like to have a full campaign on this. You don't just flip the switch and require people to just jump
That's why I wanna
overnight.
make
So what
sure.
we'll do is we'll have a full campaign. We'll send notices out to the whole community in our utility bill
All right.
to let them know. I mean, there's different methods to go about it. So and again, this is an ordinance. So 30 days from now, we'll be reviewing this, and then or the next city council meeting will be reviewing it, and then it goes into effect 30 days
Great.
after that. But
Once
yeah,
it's
we'll have an
done, make sure they
opportunity
have
right
time.
now to reach out to them.
Okay, great.
Mr.
Thank
Mayor,
you.
if I might,
Oh, go ahead. Rick.
add to that.
Good.
As Patrick said, this is the first reading and public hearing on this. So if the council approves it in concept, it will come back to your next meeting as a second reading. And then after that, it's not in effect for 30 days. And then after that, we would work on the 90-day period that Patrick talked about.
So it's more like 5 months.
Okay.
So they,
Any other questions for staff?
thank you for
Zach?
explaining that to
Can
everyone.
we put a notice in the paper? I don't know how many people actually get the paper anymore, but.
Yeah.
Right, simple.
Yeah, we don't want this to be a secret. I
Thank
mean,
you.
It's a change, Mr. Mayor, if I might. It's a change, and when change happens, you want to give people ample advance warning so they can adjust their situation or, yeah, but our goal is compliance and whatever it takes. And we're not interested in writing tickets or citations. We want the place improved.
Any further questions from the council?
Thank you, Patrick.
All right, we're going to open this up for a public hearing. Is there any public input on this item?
Long
Karen
time no
Johnson,
see.
Santa Fe Circle. Also, can we add in there who we have in the area? Because a lot of these business owners may not know Lamar's up in Bullhead, or who's approved, who's allowed to work in the city, who's able to work in the city. Some of these look pretty tall. Might need special equipment to get up there. Not every sign company has that equipment. So if we know who in the area is permitted to work here or who can do this work, that should also be put in there. Not saying here's who we recommend, but just say, here are some outside vendors in the area that can do this. So you don't have to pull somebody from Vegas or somewhere far away. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comments on this item?
If, the people that own the businesses are able to speak, without finding out signs.
Mr.
Go
Mayor.
ahead, Rick.
We don't have any funds budgeted for that, so, but we'll work with whomever to make this as painless as possible.
All right, seeing and hearing no further public comment, I'm going to close the public hearing. Bring it back to the council for discussion, deliberation, and a motion.
Your Honor, I'd like to make a motion to approve.
We have a motion to approve. We have a second.
I'll second.
Call for the vote.
5 ayes. Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Pageant,
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, we'll move on to the consent calendar now. All matters listed on the consent calendar are considered to be routine and will be enacted by one motion. The form listed, the mayor, any member of the city council may pull an item from the consent calendar for discussion. Prior to council action, a member of the public may address the city council on matters scheduled on the consent calendar. A 3-minute time limit per person applies. Recommended actions: approve items 4 through 12 on the consent calendar by affirmative roll call vote.
I'll move to approve 4 through 12.
We have a motion. We have a second.
I'll
I'll
second.
second that.
Okay, we have a motion, a second, call for the vote.
5 ayes. Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Pageant,
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, that's the end of consent. We'll move on to the regular items. Number 13 is ordinance number 640 AC, amending the Neels Municipal Code, Chapter 13, Article 4, Section 13-35, entitled Use of Certain Streets by Commercial Vehicles Prohibited,
And excuse me,
adding
go ahead.
additional streets. Sorry.
Your Honor, I passed out a revised ordinance that was numbered incorrectly. So the revised ordinance is actually ordinance 640-AC. That you'll be voting on.
640-AC?
Correct, not
Oh, I got you.
639. It should
Yeah.
say 640-AC.
Right.
I lost it.
Thank you.
Oh, that's what I read, 640 AC. So good. Okay. Staff report.
Yes, sir. Mr. Mayor, members of the council, in the ongoing saga of the underpass, BNSF has informed us that they are inclined to approve opening if we build the structure that we propose and we put out to bid and you awarded. But they want assurance that that structure, which is tested at being able to handle a full blunt load of a 13,000 pound truck. But it doesn't pass the test of being hit full by an 18,000 pound semi. So they've asked that we put load limits on the streets leading to the underpass to limit it to 13,000 pounds. That way they would hit it and the structure would be able to withstand it. And that we prohibit anything above 13,000 pounds. Actually, it's 6 ton, right? That would prohibit trucks. Now, it's easy to see on front because from the front street side, it's tough to get down into that area with a semi, although I'm sure some have. But coming from down K Street, we've had a lot of trucks that get down there and have to turn around. So what we would do is put those load limits along the road and divert at Market Street, which would be able to still give them a way to get back out. So our recommendation is approval. Upon this, if the council so inclined to approve these load limits, then we would communicate that to BNSF and hopefully get an agreement signed post haste. We're anxious to get it open.
Good. Any questions for staff?
Your Honor.
Yep.
I do have one question. If we put the load limits on there, say somebody at the end of K is moving and they bring in an 18-wheeler moving truck, do we have provisions in place to permit that for that purpose? Okay.
As long as they try and don't go over the front street.
Exactly.
Yes.
Do,
Go ahead, Tom.
do we put, I mean, it's funny, I laugh because signage has never worked ever, right? But maybe the blinking lights, did we try that one?
Well,
Have we officially tried blinking lights?
Mr. Mayor,
I
Councilor Bell,
mean,
we are going to add blinking lights to the structure
okay.
But you're right, signs
Okay. Whatever we need to do to get it open.
Signs haven't
but-
proved effective, so we're gonna put more signs.
Yeah,
But I think the most effective
I know.
piece is gonna be the blinking lights.
Yeah, I mean, maybe.
Can't fix stupid.
You can't. My nanny drove under it in my camper with Corey in the top. They had to take the air out of the tires to get the truck out.
All right, we need a motion.
I'll move to approve.
I'll second.
A motion is second. No further discussion. We'll call for the vote.
5 ayes. Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Pageant,
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
Number 14, ordinance number, this is right, 638 AC.
Yes, that's
Okay.
right.
amending chapter 14,
Fail.
article 1, adding section 14-20 entitled Feeding Pigeons, enacting a prohibition of feeding pigeons. Ready for-
Mr. Mayor, members of the council. At the request of a couple counselors who've received complaints from residents about congregation of pigeons, we drafted an ordinance that would make it a violation of the municipal code to feed pigeons. They congregation of pigeons, they can create the possibility and spread of disease, noxious odors, allergies, and safety concerns. They also make a mess of things, even out here in the walkway into the building. So this would make it a violation of the municipal code for feeding pigeons.
Eating pigeon.
Now, is it only pigeons?
Mhm.
Only pigeons.
Blind
Only-
rats.
Yeah, that's all this would apply to.
You can
So
keep-
sparrows are okay.
Well, I know people that feed quail all the damn time.
Yeah.
so-
Oh, yeah, they will feed you buy at the store.
Oh, yeah.
I will tell you that if you look out my kitchen window at C Street, right next, across the street from Katie Hostat, at 10 minutes to 4, they start arriving and they cover the lines. They're not there all day, but at 10 minutes to 4, they start. And by 4:15, there's probably about 500 pigeons. And then the lady comes and feeds them.
Oh.
And they get fed at 4:30 every day, and they know, and they're propagating, and they're having babies, and they're not learning to go eat, and they're becoming more and more. But the whole neighborhood up there has complained about their front yards and what they're having to go through to clean it up after these birds. And they have called me. They've come to my house, and I was down at the museum when the person who runs the museum took me outside, and the person had just, and I know that I love birds, but they just fed the birds at Santa Fe Park, and they were all over in the windows with poop running down the walls of the building and the benches all covered in the park. So it's a real big health hazard to humans, but it also isn't fair to the birds and their life cycle and what happens to them. They don't learn to go eat. So it's, okay.
You know, sterilization food is available. And I'm not an expert on pigeons, and I don't believe Councilman is also. But I do believe I would like to make this decision if we could bring in a pigeon expert on control of pigeon and have them discuss with the council what is this right move in this serious matter. Thank you.
I have thoughts. Then,
Donna?
well, I think at this point though, I think if we just make an ordinance to not feed them that doesn't hurt the situation. So I'm for it.
I don't want to shoot them.
Yeah, we're not saying kill them. We're just saying don't feed them.
I think there's a lot of enforcement money and time that's going to be spent trying to track down these pigeon feeders.
And Adrian dips out of the room.
Adrian, come out and under that chair.
Pigeon feeders.
Adrian's got better things to do.
I think it's kind of a deterrent.
Yeah, that's what I say. It's a deterrent.
Mr. Mayor, if the council approves this or not, we'll do the research that Dr. Paget's recommended. It may be more effective. I don't know. But I don't know where in the yellow pages you find a pigeon expert.
I'm entering my zip code right now.
Yeah. All right.
We do not want to harm any birds in the making of this ordinance.
Yeah, we should have an ad hoc committee to let's help.
I make a motion to approve.
I second. it.
Motion to approve. We have a second. Any further discussion? Call for the vote. Hey, you know what? And there's no tie possible, so I don't have to vote.
4 ayes, 1 no. Councilmember Campbell,
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Pageant,
No.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank you.
So does that mean no expert?
No, we're going to get the expert.
You could say that.
Yeah.
Everybody look into it.
I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, there's Pigeons Be Gone in Las Vegas, Pigeon Control Pros, and Complete Pigeon Control. And there's 7 more, so we have options.
15. Discussion regarding permitting food trucks, catering trucks, ice cream trucks, and push carts to sell food in the city.
Yes.
Mhm.
Mr. Mayor, members of the council, about a year ago, we started down the path to develop an ordinance. It got preempted by other work. We're ready to bring that back. I'm just checking with the council. Do you still want to consider an ordinance which would allow food trucks, ice cream trucks, taco trucks?
Yeah, I'll be the pelota man.
Well, if we let Mexican food trucks come in, don't we have to let everybody come in, like Italian food and Taiwanese food and
Absolutely.
Ugandan
vegetarian.
vegetarian food? That stuff's terrible. Anyway,
You can make
Yes.
it taste good.
Wonderful.
Tofu.
my wife is one, so,
I'm calling to give us some street tacos.
Yeah, me
Amen.
too.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll make the motion
I'll second it.
That's to move forward on the push cart or,
hungry
Move
now.
forward on, yes.
on Jeff's Street Tacos.
okay, call for the vote.
5 ayes, Councilmember Campbell.
Yes.
Terrell,
Yes.
Pageant,
Yes.
Belt,
Yes.
Longacre.
Yes.
Thank
I
you.
almost
Next,
did.
city attorney's report.
Yes, just briefly. Some of the items that we've been working on for the city recently include representing the city in the ongoing Rio Buena Vista litigation, working with the city staff on legal questions related to the NPUA city budget, advising the city on Brown Act and conflict of interest questions. We're currently working with staff on approximately 30 code enforcement and receivership cases in furtherance of the council's directive to clean up the city, advising the city on public contracting questions, working with city staff on cannabis-related questions, including advising on live scans, advising city staff and working on the sign ordinance amendments that you voted on this evening, advising the city on labor and employment matters, working with staff on the oversized vehicle code amendment that you had before you this evening, assisting the city with various contract matters, advising the city on CEQA questions, and also on land use matters. And that's it.
Thank you. City manager's report.
Yes, sir, members of the council. First, I want to give you a quick update on the Best Motel. I want to thank the sheriff's office for initiating an inspection by the county health department. County health department's supposed to inspect, I think it's apartments and motels, hotels, once a year. And they were effective in getting the county environmental health department out here. We did a multi-agency inspection. There were people from environmental health, people from the sheriff's office. We had our building officials, so building and safety. We also had our code enforcement there. We found an infestation of bed bugs, infestation of cockroaches. We found exposed wiring. We found sewage backups. We found, for example, that second story walkway had separated from the building. That's something that could have come down. We found no fire alarms or smoke detectors. So there's a whole list of things. Tomorrow, Adrian Chavez and Bernie will be donning moon suits and going into the rooms to itemize specific violations. The health department put a red tag, do not occupy. The our building and safety put a red tag, do not occupy. And the fire marshal put a red tag on the rooms, do not occupy. And it's I don't know whether it's a crime, but you can't. I mean, if somebody occupies, the sheriff will be called. Was it?
It's trespass.
Yes, okay, so right, it is trespassing. We worked with Adult Protective Services, the sheriffs were affecting and getting them out here because there was the possibility of people having to relocate. I think we relocated, or they relocated 24 or 25 individuals to other motels. The owner bears the responsibility to pay for the relocation of those people until the facility is fit to be occupied. We're going to give them a list of all the things that need to be done. We've been in contact with the building owner because that's who has created the violation or responsible for fixing the violations. And we've met yesterday with the manager of the motel, and he sees that the silver lining might very well be that the entire motel gets renovated, and then they will quit doing monthly rents. But these are the least fortunate of people that are in our community. And it was sickening, the conditions. Plus, in one case, they were renting out the janitor's closet as a room. There were live chickens in the restaurant.
I didn't get any.
Now, what we're ready to do is we want the health department to come back out, and there's a couple others that we'd like to have full inspections on, because people in this condition are not able to effectively represent themselves. So this is where government action is appropriate to protect public health. But again, much credit goes to the sheriff's office for their work in organizing this. On another matter, we are in the process of reopening the city facilities. The boat launch has been open the whole time. The rec center is now open for what I used to call after school, but it's youth activities. The aquatic center is open, so there were 25, and I think today there were over 30 of Joyce's friends doing water aerobics. And they were happy when I stopped by. Jennifer reports that there were like 18 people night swimming last night, which she said they've never had that number. So there's lap swimming, there's swimming lessons, the swim team is at work. The senior center has resumed in-person meals for seniors. They've always had the Meals on Wheels, which will continue, but it's important, especially for seniors, to get out of isolation and with their friends and their folks they're used to socializing with. And this is maybe the best meal that they get a day. So it's important that we got that operating. So the aquatics, the rec, and the senior center are opening full bore. As of next week, we will not require masks in City Hall unless there's some OSHA or governor's change of heart. But on the streets, you saw tonight where the water line replacement was completed about a week ago. It came in about $50,000 under budget to do that, and much credit goes to our water staff who were good project managers and oversight and support. On the streets, we're down to the final, and they paved O Street. They're going to be paving P Street tomorrow, which is a short one, so it should happen quickly. We are slurry, the contractor is going to slurry up to the western end of Jack Smith Park. So there's probably 100 yards or maybe 200 yards that will be slurry. We're slurry sealing the golf course parking lots and the beach, which are also the beach parking lots. And then the last day, which should be Friday, the striping subcontractor will be in town, and all the streets that were overpass. Oh yeah, there's a slurry on the overpass. I'm sorry. Thank you for bringing it up to me. So out of $2.9 million, I think it's comfortable to say it was a successful program. We're looking at hopefully $4 million of projects in the fall. There's a whole list of projects that I'll send you, which are the next up projects that include River Road, for example, all the way from the greenhouse all the way down to Jack Smith Park. But there's a whole bunch of other streets, and so we'll be able to do hopefully 4 million there. And then as I've reported earlier, we have requested another $2 million of street projects to be funded by Congressman Obernolte if and when the infrastructure bill is considered by Congress, although it's ballooned to $6 trillion now. And then Colonel Cook, from our county supervisor, has asked for a list of $2 million of road projects that they might be able to fund from their COVID money that the county expects to get for infrastructure. So it's going to be a busy year. The mayor asked me to remind him to adjourn the meeting in memory. That's all I have. Glad to answer any questions or
Questions?
I have one. Speaking about the health department coming in, you mentioned that they're technically required to come once a year and inspect. So they came out specifically for this hotel this time because it was a major project.
Yes.
When would we expect them to come back and look at the rest of the hotels in our community?
Well, we're not going to let go of them. It would be,
Keep 'em here.
we're going to ask for some fairly soon inspections of the other facilities.
Just the once a year thing?
Yeah.
That'd be
Now,
nice to get back on track.
COVID prevented them
Right.
last year, and but again, much credit goes to the sheriff's office.
Thank you. I would like to
Zach?
see the others inspected.
Use your mic, please.
On the slurring of the overpass, can we get the new trailer signs up and give the folks that are going to have to use that the advantage of using the freeway as an alternative?
Right. We have, as you notice, out on where we're doing P Street tomorrow, the sheriff's lent us the trailer, and we've got directional signs for employee safety. Plus, there's signs out there that River City Pizza's open during construction, and we have blocked off a whole section there of additional parking.
Anything that would
But yes, we will.
would direct them to use the freeway as opposed to using the overpass, because it's going to go one lane while they stripe one side and then one lane while they stripe the other, and it's backed up as it is right now. So, thank you.
All right. Council requests. We'll start on this end this time. Councilmember Longacre.
Ooh, okay, you threw me off.
Let us throw you off.
All right,
Okay, moving
20
on.
mile an hour sign in front of the new dispensary needs to be put back on the sidewalk still, so nobody goes around that corner at more than 20 miles an hour and goes into Circle K. residents off of, what's cul-de-sac behind the school?
Oh, Reverend.
We just paved it.
Okay.
Earl Court.
Yeah.
Earl Court would like their signs up too.
Gee, we just paved the damn street.
Next, I'd like to read something real quick, if you don't mind. Got this off social media and it pertains to something I'm going to request right now. And I quote, "Our students are being inundated with marijuana signage, advertising, and exposure in this town. They don't understand or don't care about the risks of using. Significantly more time and money has gone into promoting the marijuana industry in Needles than educating our children about the risks of marijuana and the need for responsible use. Why aren't we using some of the city tax revenue to purchase programs like the Marijuana Education Initiative to provide balance and education for our students? I can't believe how one-sided our city has allowed this issue to become. We have failed our kids by giving them marijuana on almost every corner and growing daily, but no other alternatives to a smarter, healthier childhood. With that being said, I'd like to look into the Marijuana Education Initiative. I don't care what it costs, budget for it. While we have marijuana leaves and dollar signs in our eyeballs trying to save our infrastructure, we're forgetting an infrastructure. Those children are an infrastructure. So we need to start thinking about them. And last but not least, my youngest turned 18 today. Happy birthday, Ethan. Thank you.
Donna?
I told you guys I was going to bring this marijuana over and over and over again. Just to remind us that we are community first, and we have to remember, I appreciate Zach bringing that up, that we have to continue to be a community first. And zoning, we have to continue, it is important on the location of these marijuana facilities. I've come on board believing that marijuana, it's no different than alcohol, but in the same spot, I don't want a bar next to my house. I don't want a dispensary, a cultivation, the same thing. So we need to remember to make them fit the area, to remind our council, to remind our city, come in, voice your opinions. I hear a lot of people talking right now. Please, if you don't want to talk, please let any of us know your thoughts and we'll be happy to bring it up. Just because we have to, we want our kids to continue to be able to have choices in this town, and not just every business is now coming forward and wanting to, many businesses are coming forward and wanting to jump on the marijuana bandwagon. I don't want to continue to lose businesses just because we feel that we're allowing marijuana anywhere. So as a city, as a council, as a community, can we continue to try to strive to remember that we want to put Needles first? Marijuana has did great things for our town, but with that being said, we also need to be responsible as council members and as a community. Next thing, the grass at the pool. If we can get overseeding to grow overseed, we started a swim team and those little ones in their feet are stuck with those goat heads because it's horrible out there right now. Dead areas, grass in the pool, just some cleanup again at the pool now that it's open again to make it as nice as we can with what we have to work with. You brought up the bathrooms already and the cleanliness of them. Also, I saw the street sweeper road look swept. Is it back up and running? Was that a street sweeper?
Yeah.
It is up and we are back up with that? Okay, just making sure that was up. And parks in our budget. The roads look great. 3 million we've got to spend, but if we can if we can try to add, if we're going to think of 4 million, maybe drop that back a little so we can add to redoing of our parks. Our parks need it intensely. I know Rainey's working on some grants. I know everybody's working hard to get this going, but I'm going to bring that up over and over and over, is the parks again also, that we keep them looking nice and even redoing all their equipment. And the same with, you brought up the beach, but I think that's coming before us. First beach to get that proposal up and running. So hopefully by next summer, we'll have some nice looking first beach and second beach out there. And I think that's it.
Vice Mayor Paget?
Yes, the only thing I would please those that haven't done it and are able to do it, get your vaccination. Help us stamp out this pandemic. Thank you.
Councilmember Terrell.
Good one.
Yeah, I got a couple of things. The road between the Chinese restaurant and the new dispensary there, I don't remember which the name of that road is right off the top of my head. Okay. We need to consider possibly making that a one-way road because coming around the corner, I've almost been hit by people shooting out of there. If we make it only an entrance and they exit back over by the red roof, it would improve public safety and probably avoid an accident looking to happen. And the other thing is, what is the current ordinance on the city for addresses on houses? Or do we have one?
I believe
Has to be on the building.
I believe every house is to have, oh, Adrian would know.
Yeah, it's required in our property maintenance code, so every property should have premises identification.
A prominently displayed address?
Yeah.
We're very lacking in that department in this town. Very few addresses are displayed, much less prominently. So that's something we need to look into possibly remedying. It's a health and safety issue with fire and ambulances and everything like that, or even your pizza delivery guy not being able to find the house.
Oh.
Got it. That it?
That's it for me.
Councilmember Campbell.
I want to thank Zach for going and cleaning up the beach. He didn't call anyone. He went and did it by himself after the holiday weekend. And I don't know what our provision is for signs. I know that there are ramifications for littering in every city. And I think we should have signs up at the beach that say, if you litter, this is what your fine can be. And that would assist law enforcement. We all have cell phones and cameras, but going down and policing them during the holiday weekends, watching people, making people take their glass out is one thing. And I don't know if it's a possibility to prohibit glass on the beach in our, but I think we should because boy, we cleaned up a lot of glass. Just people want to just throw their glass as a game. Pile it. That literally one pile was this high. So I personally would like to look into or have us look into prohibiting glass on our beaches. People can bring cans, whatever, down there to have beer. They have plastic and they have newer containers now. I don't drink, so but I've seen them. And that we have signs up saying that this is the fine for littering because that's how we can enforce it, is to have it posted. It's a little easier to enforce something that is posted and make sure we have adequate trash cans down there
Mr. Mayor.
to encourage people.
May I take just a moment?
Yes. That's his job.
As you recall, a while back, we were awarded a grant from Cal Recycle for illegal dumping. And in that grant is signs. So we've ordered, pack it in, pack it out, no littering. And we're also working on an ordinance at council's request, to boost the penalty for, so you'll be seeing an ordinance coming forward soon, and it will also look at prohibiting glass on the beaches and in the parks. So.
Thank you.
Hey, Tim.
Isn't the current fine in California for littering $1,500? Or is that regional, not everywhere? I thought it was everywhere.
I see those signs on the freeway. We'll check. We'll prepare a report for you.
I know dumping in the desert's 1,000.
Yeah, that's right.
Should be more.
Okay.
Thank you.
With that, if there is an update on the Rio Buena Vista deal, could you give it to us next meeting? Sure. Okay. And with that, I'd like to adjourn the meeting in memory of Sergeant Vaca. I was really disappointed to learn that we'd lost a deputy. We'd been lucky with all this defund the police and all this other crap going on. And we hadn't lost, and we lost one, and that's too bad. But we've all felt it. We want to adjourn in memory. Thank you.
When is this funeral?